listening to Into the Arena, a Hunger Games podcast sparking the fandom one episode at a time, with your hosts, Holly and Emily. Special thanks for music by Sam Cushion.
Welcome back, tributes, to Into the Arena. I'm Holly.
And I'm Emily.
And this week, we are going to be discussing all about the Hunger Games arenas. We're going to get to play some game makers, just discuss all the different locations and arenas in the books and movies. But before we get into everything, make sure that you're joining us on Monday nights. Right now, we're doing a ballad read-through, so this upcoming Monday, tomorrow, we will be reading chapters 11 and 12 of Ballad. So I think we're starting off part 2 of Ballad. Mm-hmm. And so join us on our Instagram at Into the Arena Podcast. And then also make sure to follow us on our other social medias. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook at Into the Arena Podcast. And before we dive in, we're going to talk a little bit more about our pre-games.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing Would You Rather again. And we thought we would make it arena inspired. So I guess I will go ahead and start with my first one. It's pretty basic. If you were in the arena, would you rather be part of the careers or from another district that's not with the careers?
I feel like I'd get the most protection being a career. So I would say a career. Plus, I'd be more of a threat as a career. So
what do you think like your skill would be?
I thought about this and I kind of have always channeled Clove. Like I think throwing knives would be super cool. Like that would be the goal.
Oh my
I don't
gosh,
know if
I can see that for you.
What about you?
I almost feel like it'd have to be knives too. I don't want to steal the same thing, but it just seems more like I would need a smaller weapon, I think. And that's really the only thing I can think of. I definitely couldn't do a bow and arrow.
Oh,
I don't have the arm strength for that.
Just like how fast you have to be, like the fact that Katniss can just like kill multiple people at once, you know? I would not be able to just be like boom, 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 you know?
Honestly, it's so impressive. This is like a tangent, but it's so impressive that Jennifer Lawrence was able to even like, I'm just amazed that actors can replicate something that they don't actually have that skill.
Yeah.
I was watching some BTS footage and the arrows are CGI, at least in Mockingjay and like the BTS I was watching, but she still has to like pretend like she's pulling out the arrow like with perfect form so that they can CGI it in later. It's just like I could never do that.
I know, she makes it look flawless.
Yeah, so probably knives.
Yeah.
For me too. I'm
I feel like knives would be like the thing I'd want to do, but I feel like I'd be like kind of good with a sword too. I feel like having a sword, like then you could be like further away from a person, like but with a knife, like, you know.
Okay, if we're being like I've always thought that Gale is kind of lame because he uses a crossbow.
Yeah, same. Compared to Katniss.
Okay, I could do the crossbow. Oh. Sure.
I love that. Yeah, compared to Katniss, not as cool. But would you rather be a part of the careers or would you rather be off on your own?
I think I would just want to be with the nice group.
The nice group. But like for me, I picture the careers and then everyone else is on their own. And then there's like some odd alliances. Like, but I feel like they're a lot more rare than like the career pack.
I guess and for me, like my strategy, like we've talked about before, would be to just run and hide and try to last as long as I can. And I just don't want to be part of the career group. So I'd rather be off on my own or like with some random buddy.
Here would be my plan. I think I would want to be a career. So if I was a career, let's just say I was a career. And I feel like it would be about like a few days in, just like enough that like everyone's feeling comfortable, but there's still a lot of other tributes left. I feel like in the middle of the night I would murder all the other careers. So that way they wouldn't turn on me. So then I would establish myself in the arena. I'd get comfortable. I'd learn about it. I'd have all the stuff, and then I could just steal all their stuff and like murder them in the middle of the night during my watch.
This is why you always have at least 2 people keeping guard.
Mm-hmm. But
That's not happening
that's
to
not what
me.
they did in the Hunger Games, like the career pack. Which
No,
is
they like all slept. Or no, Clove was awake, killing lizards, but like maybe she just didn't want to sleep.
but there weren't 2 people awake.
Yeah,
And the fact that they
just one.
trusted PETA and he was from 12, like even though they thought that he was kind of like they were manipulating him, like he's not a career. And it was really rare to have like a District 12 tribute a part of the careers. So I would have been like, let's
Yeah.
2 at a time, like let's stay up. But
Yeah,
that's
I would
my
not trust everybody.
yeah. So
Okay, what's your would you rather?
mine is pretty basic, but I think it's fun to ask just based off of where you're from. And would you rather be in the coldest arena to date or the hottest arena to date?
Um,
I'm talking like the Arctic arena versus the like desert arena.
I almost asked this would you rather.
I felt like it was probably the most basic one to ask.
And yet I couldn't come up with an answer for myself.
Mm-hmm.
They're both so awful. I think I just don't know which is worse. Is like freezing to death worse or heat stroke and dehydration? I've never experienced either, so
Yeah.
I think I'd go with the desert, like the heat.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Your
because
natural
in my head, yeah, that seems I'm from Arizona, so it seems somewhat more familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
What
I
about
would
you?
I'd pick the coldest arena, I think. Because I don't know. I feel like if people weren't really like acclimated to that sort of like temperature, I guess, then I guess I would feel more comfortable. And then I just feel so awful when it's too hot. Like when it's like desert weather in Colorado, I like can't move, I can't think, and I can't even imagine like the feeling of being that dehydrated and like the heat. Oh, I would much rather be cold.
I'm like, it's hot right now. It's
Yeah,
like 90 plus degrees. We already had 100-degree weather,
are you
and
serious?
it's not gonna go below 90 until October. So
Wow. That's psychotic. It's gonna rain all week here, so come here. We can have Forks vibes.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I'm not because today's our last sunny day, and I'm like, okay. But the sunny days here are nice because it's like 70 degrees. Once it gets like 85, I can't do it. Like that hurts me.
I feel like we here have like 2 weeks of good weather
Hmm.
during like the transition period,
Yeah,
and that's it.
yeah. But opposites. What's your next question?
So my next one, it's related to careers, I guess, too. So you've made it to the final 2 in the games. It's you and a career, so you're not a career in this situation.
Oh, okay.
Would you rather have to go like head to head with them and like fight them one-on-one, or would you rather that the arena releases like a mutation that you both have to fight and will end up
That's a
taking
good
one of you
question.
out?
That's a really good question. I would definitely rather fight somebody.
Really?
Yeah, the mutations in the Hunger Games traumatize me. I think that they are hands down the scariest thing about these books.
I think to me it would be so much easier mentally to face a mutation and kill something like that than to kill a
Mhm.
person.
I just don't want to face a
So,
mutation though. I'm like,
yeah, I mean, it would probably be scarier, but I think it would be easier for me to like just go all in
hmm.
and fight the thing. So,
What, you're not like Gail where it's like killing somebody else is like killing an animal?
no, I don't think so.
Same. Um, but yeah, I just can't ever since I mean, like all the mutts are very scary, but something about the lizard mutts and Mockingjay have traumatized me for life. Like just thinking about those are only a few examples. I want to know like even more. Reading Ballad and reading about like the human experimentation too. I'm just like that is psycho. I don't want anything to do with that. So,
Have we seen? I feel like the lizards are one of the scariest things that we saw in all the books.
mhm.
And I don't think we saw anything quite that terrifying in the arena. So I wonder if they really like take it to that level, or if that was just Snow's extra special thing that he sent after Katniss.
Yeah, finale time. Yeah. Okay, well that ruins my next question.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, it does. Cuz I'm so scared of the lizard mutts. So like my next question had to do with the mutations too. I'm trying to think of a new one now
Oh,
because
because I already said that's the scariest.
mhm, which
Wait, what
I
was the
was
question? It was lizard butts or
or I was trying to decide which were scarier, but I couldn't think of one that was scarier. So now it doesn't even like make any sense for me to like share that idea because I'm scared of the lizard mutts too. Like those are traumatizing.
well, I feel like it also depends. Are you fighting one of something or are you fighting like a group of things? Because if you're fighting like one lizard butt, like okay, but if you're fighting like 30 of them are coming after you,
Hmm.
it's
Like
that's
that's
not
the
a
thing with
good
like
situation.
the monkey mutts and the quarter quell. Like they're not that scary. Like obviously I
There
would
was
be
just a
scared,
lot of them.
but there's
Yeah.
so many of them, especially in the scene, seeing all of them.
There's nothing special about the monkey mutts, right?
No,
They're
they just
just
have
like
big teeth.
monkeys,
Monkeys,
really scary
very
monkeys.
scary monkeys. Okay, like what is your like biggest fear in terms of animals? The scariest animal?
Shark?
That's yeah, that was one that I was thinking, which we'll come back to when we plan our own games. But
Me too.
really, stop. We are just on the same page. Um, well, now I'm trying to think of like an arena question. Hmm. Hmm.
I think we're good. I think we
Yeah.
could just dive in.
Should we just get in, like, lead us into our arena discussion?
Yeah,
Because,
let's do it.
okay.
So, I guess starting with the first through the ninth games, which we know about thanks to Ballad. And I guess we'll talk about Ballad up through part one, because that's all what we've discussed in
Hmm.
our Ballad talks. So, anything from part one is fair game. So the first through ninth arenas were just in the capital arena.
Hmm. Which we've already debated in a live during our ballot talk, like what we each perceive it to be. Because you mentioned that you think it's like a football stadium, right?
It probably isn't.
No, but I'm really curious. Like that was like what you had mentioned, and I think some people were agreeing with you in the comments.
What I mentally pictured was more like what you're talking about. I think it would just be cool in the movie to visually see it,
Hmm.
like something that we're more familiar with in our society. So I'm not really sure which one it actually was. I pictured more of like the Roman Colosseum type of
Yeah,
arena when I was actually reading the book.
me too. And I think that that would still be really cool for the movies because I still think of the Capitol being so distant from our society today. So I feel like having like the Roman Colosseum would be really like fitting towards the Capitol aesthetic, I guess.
Yeah, it would definitely match. Like that's going to match the architecture of the rest of the capital, right?
Hmm.
So,
Is it kept afterwards and kept as like a monument in the Capitol? Because people like Katniss talks about how people visit the different arenas on vacations. Um,
oh, interesting.
So I'm just wondering if they kept the Colosseum or I guess, yeah, um, that specific arena in the first through the 10th games afterwards, despite everything that happens, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if they would keep it or not.
Because I'm just wondering if like maybe like they take the Capital kids take field trips to the Coliseum Arena. But
The original arenas.
Mhm.
The original arena.
Yeah.
I think they would clean it up kind of,
hmm
and they would present whatever narrative they want to present.
Yeah, that's true. But I felt like this would be probably one of the hardest arenas to be in.
Oh yeah, I would die for
Yeah.
sure.
'Cause
Zero chance.
nowhere to hide, really.
And I mean, they said in Ballad that it's like for sure. It seemed like that the strongest always win
hmm
because like there's nowhere to hide, there's nowhere to go. Like
You're pretty
even
much
if
just like awaiting death.
I mean, I guess you could get whatever, like a stronger weapon might help you.
hmm
But then again, I feel like the stronger competitors would be the only ones to really get those weapons because they're
Yeah.
the strongest. So I don't know, there's not much to say about this arena.
Yeah. Other
So
than just
literally just a fight to the death.
reading Ballad after reading the original series or the original trilogy, just like seeing how different the arena is because we only knew the arena as like a physical, like always an outdoor um place, I guess. And so now the setting seems to be more like intimate, a lot smaller in scale, um, completely different in terms of experience. You're not seeing like any animals or trees or wildlife at all. So definitely would be very difficult.
Yeah, I'd lose.
Same.
That's
Goodbye,
facts.
world.
Should we talk about the Ballad arena? I mean, I guess we can talk about how it changed because of what happened in part one. So there was an explosion
hmm
in the arena, which created more hiding spots. Like there's rubble, there's access to tunnels
hmm
now. So that kind of changed it up. I still think I'd be dead,
Oh, same. Yeah.
but I might last a little bit longer.
Well, also, it's just like they're not good hiding spaces. Like, think of how cramped you would be in those like tunnels and
Yeah.
like if somebody was coming for you and like there was a dead end, like there's no way that you could escape. You know what I mean?
hmm
So, yeah, I would not be able to make it through that one at all. It just sounds like I feel I would I think I'd get very claustrophobic, honestly,
Hmm.
because it's such a small space. Whereas in the other Hunger Games arenas, they can like run far distances. I mean, like Katniss spends like a day walking around her arena, you know?
I don't get claustrophobic, so I don't think that would be a problem for me. I'm like, bring on the claustrophobia. If
Oh my
people are
gosh.
afraid of that, then that could be an advantage for me.
True. You would win against me.
I feel like that's pretty much all there is to say about the 10th arena. It's basically like the first 9.
hmm
So the next one that I have on my list is the 50th,
Which is the coolest
the
arena.
quarter quell.
That one is my favorite of all, like in terms of like how awesome. Not
It's definitely
awesome, but
the most creative one.
hmm
Like the game makers, well, both quarter quells, I guess, are the most creative and the most interesting, I
hmm
think. Because they just put a lot of thought and time and care
Yeah.
into making sure they're exciting.
I was really shocked reading this one, like when we first were introduced to it by Haymitch.
Yeah, I was too. So the arena is basically a beautiful looking place.
hmm
So I think it mentioned in the book that the tributes came up and some of them get distracted,
hmm
right? Because of how pretty it was.
Yeah,
This is why they really should have put this in the movie, is
I
like so many
know.
reasons, but it would have been such a cool arena to see and just to
hmm
see how like next level the Quarter Quell arenas are before we even get into the Catching Fire one.
hmm
So there are all sorts of like different animals and
Like the
like
squirrels.
mutts and oh my gosh, yeah. So there are carnivorous squirrels. That one
Horrifying.
I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like I just imagine like 10 squirrels like running up to you and like they just like start
Ugh.
devouring you.
Like, I just love that it's so attractive, but everything is like for me, I think of like Willy Wonka, like it's all attractive, blah blah blah, and then on the
Mm.
inside, like everything is just so dark. Oh, it's just like you couldn't trust anything, and the birds with like the long beaks that like didn't they poke out um the undersea girl's eyes? Like, is that who it was, or was that somebody else? I thought they like
I thought they
pecked
like
her eyes.
slit her throat or something. Or
I don't
maybe I'm
remember.
not remembering.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They did kill. It says on the wiki that killed Maisley Donner. Not the undersea girl, but Maisley Donner.
They're just slicing and dicing with those
Oh,
beaks. Yeah.
that's I think, okay, which one is worse? The squirrels or the scary birds with the beaks that will penetrate you in your eyeballs?
I don't know. They're both, I don't know.
I would just be like slicing the squirrels left and right. Like those birds, that would be traumatizing.
Yeah, I think it would be easier to fight the squirrels. Like if you
Hmm.
had some sort of weapon, whereas the birds are basically each a weapon,
Yeah.
like within themselves with their beaks.
Hmm.
And like they could probably like poke you like, from farther away. So
Hmm.
probably the squirrels are less scary.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that this idea is really cool. And again, if we had a Haymitch book, we would have a Haymitch movie. And to see this arena compared to, I mean, Katniss's arena is pretty plain. I feel like she got really lucky with her first arena.
So lucky.
But this one, I love. I love picturing all like the pastel colors, the beautiful sky. I don't know. I think it was an awesome arena just because of how like deceiving it was.
Hmm. And I don't think I would have gotten distracted by the beauty, but somebody has to be, you have to see someone get hurt by
Hmm.
something that's like not meant to hurt you,
Yeah.
or it has to happen to you for you to realize, what the truth of the arena really is. So hopefully you just don't run into something that's lethal.
Yeah. But it would just be so toxic all around because in the arena there was like no drinkable water, I think. Um like all of it was toxic, and I'm sure that's how it was with like the plants. And so I feel like that would make the games a lot shorter even though there were
Hmm.
double the amount of tributes, but I mean if your tributes are starving and dehydrated, they're going to die a lot faster.
Yeah, it would totally mess with your head
Mhm.
too, because I don't think I would survive very long at all because like what can you do? All kind of survival strategies are off the table.
Yeah.
Like nothing makes logical sense.
Yeah.
That would not work well for me. So,
And thinking about little baby Haymitch making it out of that arena.
well,
Like,
because he was smart.
yeah. I don't it's just I think I always just get so, like shocked that he was the one that won that games, because it's one thing to win a games, but to win like a games like the quarter quell, like
And against 49 people and in
yeah,
that arena,
yeah. I'm like,
hey
props to this
Mitch.
man. This man. So whenever I just like I'll remember that, like for some reason I won't think about it, and then I'll be like, wait, what games did he win? And I'm like, wow, that man is incredible.
Yeah,
So
Katniss had it easy.
which we'll get to because that arena was, like we said, she was lucky, very lucky. But definitely, I that's probably one of my favorite parts of Catching Fire too, is just reading about Haymitch's games. So, so cool.
So should we move on to the next one I have is the Burning Desert.
And which is interesting because it's like from the film and not the movie, or
Mhm.
not the books. The film, but not the movie. Not from the books.
The next two that I have, I have the Burning Desert and then the Frozen Tundra. The desert I picture as like an all sand desert,
Hmm.
like sand dunes type of desert.
Yeah.
So
I'm
literally nothing.
I'm picturing like heat coming off the sand, so like you see like everything's like kind of like blurring because it's so hot. But it's interesting, like
Mhm.
burning desert, like temperatures of maybe like 110. Like I feel like that would be just like psychotic. I wonder if there
Holly,
was like,
it like gets to 120 degrees here.
oh, it rarely
I feel
gets
like
to
it's like
100 here.
115, 120 degrees in that arena.
Okay. I mean, I don't know anything. Like
Maybe more.
when it gets to 100 here, we're like, this is psychotic. So I mean,
It's
okay.
like a normal day.
Oh my God. So 120 degrees. We're just cooking in this arena. And okay, this is something I just thought of. I would love the idea that there was like an area of like shade, like an oasis. There was like a little palm tree and like the careers camp out there and like people would like try to like fight for that area, you know?
Yeah.
That would make it interesting. I also need to disclaim that I'm saying like all these things are awesome and cool, but this is the mindset of a game maker. So
Yeah. We're
these are
we're
not cool.
we're game makers today.
We're
I'm
game makers.
channeling my inner Dr. Gull.
Yeah. So
The
I don't
little
think these are
tiny,
cool.
tiny part of me.
The part of us that enjoys reading about the games. So okay.
Like
Disclaimer.
everyone does. Like,
Yeah.
you know, come on.
Everyone's a little evil, right?
I was saying, like, in terms of like what the game makers would do, I think they would try and trick people, like, you know, like mirages. I think they would like
Yeah.
show things, and then like the tributes wouldn't know if they're just going a little mad or
That's
if
kind
it's
of cool.
real or if it's fake. They wouldn't know. And so I think that it would mess with you mentally. I also think that as far as mutations, things would just like spring out from the sand,
Ooh.
like a giant snake or something
No.
desert related.
Um, I was okay, this is part of a spoiler from my game maker self, but I think quicksand would be kind of interesting too.
I put quicksand too.
Yeah.
I was like, there's probably quicksand in this arena.
Hmm. But I think it's so fascinating because I mean, like, we talked about the first through the 10th, we talked about the 50th, like a huge leap, what, 40 years. And then the rest of the games we have are within like the same like 6 years. And so I just want to know more about all of them because
Hmm.
like I
That's a
don't
lot of things to come up with.
exactly.
And I feel like the things that are here are the most logical. Like,
Like the most insane ones.
yeah. So I don't know what the other ones would be
Yeah.
unless they do
Maybe
repeats.
maybe like for the desert arena, it would be like the finale, it would just suddenly start like pouring rain and it'd be like a huge rainstorm and like people would be like slipping in the sand. Like I feel like
Mm.
that'd be kind of
It'd
like
like throw them off.
yeah.
Wow, that's
Game
exciting.
maker Holly. Yeah.
So then
But
on the flip side, the frozen tundra,
oh yeah.
it's just freezing cold. See, this one I just don't know.
Yeah.
I
And
can't even
Katniss,
think of a lot of like mutations that they would put into this.
a
So this is
Yeti.
why this was the arena that was a flop, right?
Yeah, because Katniss mentions like it was so boring because all the tributes just like huddled together and like froze to death. So I mean
Wah, wah.
that I mean like that sounds awful, but it's better than like getting your head cut off or mutations like attacking you if you're just like huddling with some people.
I feel like dying of hypothermia is a pretty awful way to go.
But at least you're not getting like attacked.
It's also like slow.
Okay.
Ugh.
Just imagine yeah. Do we know who the victor is from that arena? Or was it just mentioned? I would like to know
No,
like how that person won. Like were they from a very cold district? And so maybe
they
it was like
probably were the last to be alive, but like who knows how they ended up out of that arena. I mean, Peeta lost his leg in the arena. I'm
Mhm.
I'm sure that person lost some limbs.
Yeah.
It's
Spoiler
really
alert
sad.
for what's coming. But yeah, I think I would like to picture like like some bears or something, some like grizzly bears, some like
Polar bears?
yeah, polar bears would be cool.
oh my gosh, what if there were like, because you have to be able to get water. So there's probably like those little holes in the ice that like had like access to water, and maybe like if you like go into it or get too close to it, like I don't know, some killer seal or something comes out of there and
Oh.
attacks you.
Like I wonder what their outfits would have been too, because they always give them like arena outfits that
Like
go with the
parkas.
climate. Yeah, would they have given them like huge jackets like that, or were they probably just something like really
They
thin
had to have
layered?
given them something like that. I mean, it ultimately wouldn't be enough.
Yeah. Plus, just think about like if it was like blizzard conditions, how dramatic it would just be like unable to see things because I mean when it's snowing
But then
sideways,
the
you can't
audience
see.
probably couldn't really see anything. It just adds to the like failure of the arena.
I wonder if that game maker was like assassinated
Props.
because Snow was like, this was the worst games ever.
I'd fire that person.
Imagine like the
Like, heck
YouTube
no.
channel like that does the countdown of like the top 10 Hunger Games arenas.
Top 10 fails.
Yeah.
That was number one.
Which now you're watching Survivor and there's a lot of Survivor videos like that. So
I feel like I thought about Survivor a lot while writing these notes.
yeah.
I finished the season.
You
I
did?
watched the finale last night.
Isn't it so
It
good?
was like 24 hours.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can get through like a season of Survivor in a day. Like seriously, isn't it so good?
It's so much better from like the halfway point to the end.
Yeah, like the merge.
Because once there's fewer people, and then I feel like I've, decided who I really like and who I don't. And then I think the game gets a lot more strategic. It's pretty good. I like it.
Hopefully Chase and Cherish are listening to this. Chase will be excited for you, and Cherish, it'll be encouraging that you should finish Survivor. Okay. Anyway, back to the arena.
Yeah, Survivor detour there.
But it's okay. We watched it live, so it's kind of related. But
It is
70th game.
the one with the dam, right?
Yeah, by the earthquake. Which that again sounds like a fail because like why are you trying to like mass murder all these kids when the whole point is to get viewings?
Maybe something about the arena was just too easy. Like people weren't dying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who knows what the arena was like? And maybe the earthquake wasn't something that was supposed to be there from the beginning. It was just, they can probably make any arena have an earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to shake it up.
Yeah.
Literally.
Cute. A little pun. But for this one I kind of picture like maybe like a lake area because of the dam. So maybe it was a lot more relaxed and like there's like some sand, some trees. Like you said, it was like nobody was dying. So maybe like the earthquake. Like maybe they didn't even know there was a dam. I don't know. Maybe like it was something that just kind of like I don't know how to describe it, but with the lake, the earthquake caused it to like flood everyone, you know? Wasn't this
Right. There's a dam, right? And then the earthquake breaks the dam. And so then the water goes everywhere.
But this was Annie's game, wasn't it? Because she knew how to swim.
Yeah, this is Annie's game, right? I think so.
I'm pretty sure. Let me look this
Or
up.
are we just connecting the two because they're both water?
I think it was.
That part is so small.
Yeah, so she 70th games. Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I could win that one for sure. Like I could totally pull an Annie and swim the longest. I could tread water forever.
Mm-hmm. But I wonder like we would say that now, but it would be different based on where we were raised. But like if Katniss were in that
Oh,
arena
I guess I'm just thinking about like myself.
right now, yeah. Katniss would have been able to survive it too because she knew how to swim. I wonder if like the careers learn how to swim in their training. I picture like their training
Interesting.
academy like a gym. There's like a pool area.
I'm like, we know there's a pool in the capital
Yeah,
because Snow mentions it.
yeah. Go Annie.
I feel
You
like that would
survived.
be a really good challenge on Survivor if they've never done that. Like, who can tread water the longest?
Oh, they do one kind of like that in one season.
I'm like, I would win that. I
But
want to
it's
see
like,
that
I remember
challenge.
that one was like complicated because your head has to like stay under this bar and like the water rises. So you're like trying to breathe while
Oh,
you're
I
treading
think I've
water.
seen a screenshot of that because when you're watching on Netflix, like that's one of the shots that like
Oh,
comes up.
really? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that looked weird. I was like, is that what I think it is?
Yeah.
Treading water? Okay, well, that sounds hard, but if we're just like straight up treading water,
Just
I feel
like
like I would
just
win.
keep swimming.
Also, a lot of those challenges I feel like I'd be great at, but
Same. But then I think about how dehydrated and hungry I would be. And then I'm like, never mind.
I think I could do it.
I'm like, go on Survivor. Maybe
Just
you'll win $1
it's like,
million.
is there anybody else like they watch these and they just really, really want to try the challenges like
Yeah.
so
No,
badly? Like I
100%.
want to like compete against my friends.
I think that would be really fun. They should set up like courses around different like cities in America.
Like it could be an attraction, right? Like get a group
Yeah,
of 6 friends and do Survivor challenges.
I would love that. I would go and I would humiliate myself. That's all I have for the 70th.
Yeah, me too.
But as I was saying, the 73rd is one of the arenas that we're introduced to in the movies. And it's
Mhm.
actually like scene where Caesar Flickerman is talking about last year's Hunger Games, like 73rd before Katniss's. Um, and it was a ruined city. And he talks about, oh, one of my favorite arenas. And I think reading the books, I never really thought of this being a possible arena just because I kept thinking about like outdoors places. But a ruined city, I think, would be kind of reminds me of the first 10 Hunger Games with the Colosseum, like the ruined Colosseum, I guess. Well, the 10th games, but
Mhm. But like bigger.
mhm. I think I would be able to survive in this arena the best.
There'd be a lot of hiding places
Yeah.
and probably things that you could like find. But I would think that they would use an actual abandoned city
Hmm.
from somewhere, not like start from scratch. So I think that would make it really interesting. Because I'm sure there's like, random stuff laying all over the place that could be used.
Hmm. I wonder what like the mutts would be in this arena though.
Evil
Maybe
pigeons.
evil pigeons. I
They've gone rabid in the absence of humans.
oh my gosh. Maybe like zombies.
Like zombies.
Zombies. Zombie mutations.
Oh my gosh. This
I get
sounds.
like that.
You think that you would survive this one the best?
Yeah, I think so.
Just because of the being able to hide
Oh yeah.
factor? Okay, yeah. In the original Hunger Games script, I think the city is called Aspen.
Oh really?
And then that's
Colorado?
pretty much how the yeah. Oh yeah, maybe it's
Yeah,
in Colorado.
because I was gonna bring this up. I watched this Hunger Games channel that I've mentioned before. I think his name's Christian, and he does Tales of the Hunger Games, and he does every single arena, and he does like the whole plot. Like he just makes this up. But one of the ones that I watched, it must have been the 73rd, was in a ruined city in Aspen, which is like a beautiful like vacation vacation town, ski town in Colorado. And so I think that that would be like really cool.
Yeah, so in this that's the city I think in the script. Actually,
Oh,
I'm gonna pull it up
yeah, because that
because
makes sense.
this is literally the cold opening.
Oh, really?
It's the first page of the
We
script.
need to go through the script. I'm waiting because I
We
want to be
do.
like surprised.
So it fades in. Then there's like some words, kind of like the movie actually is like words about the Hunger Games and kind of explaining it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we smash to a nightmare, so presumably Katniss's nightmare. I'm not sure, but I would think that this is based on an actual games that she saw.
Mm-hmm.
So the exterior is an abandoned resort town, daytime. We're running through a battle zone, bodies left and right, strewn all over the street. We keep running, dodging death itself. An arrow whizzes by us, barely missing, banging noisily into what used to be a newsstand. Another arrow buzzes past. Running, we're desperate, hearing our own footsteps, our shallow breaths and groans of fear. This is so good.
So dramatic.
There's another body on the sidewalk, semi-impaled. This is perfect hell. It used to be Aspen 300 years ago, abandoned now, overgrown with foliage, decaying and dead. We run around a corner, our heart rate spiking, a knife hurtling toward us out of nowhere. It buries itself into our left arm. The pain is searing. We falter, but we have to keep running. We have to get to safety, our eyes darting, looking for somewhere to hide. Old coffee shops, ski rental shops, yogurt shops are all skeletal now, covered in vegetation, their windows long since blown away, death waiting inside all of them, and then a spear thrown from what used to be a second-story window. We dive out of the way, it just misses us, but we've landed on our wounded arm. More searing pain. We get to our feet. Please let this end. Behind us, we hear voices yelling, "Get him!" We don't look back, we can't. There's a corner up ahead, safety. We reach it, turning, only to find a well-built kid of 17 awaiting us with a spiked mace in his arms. He swings it at us, at our head, and then pop, blackness.
That is such a different beginning than what we get. Okay, there's so much to unpack there because that is exactly how Christian made his games in the Tales of the Hunger Games. Second, Suzanne never gives us a timeline, but she worked on the script, and yet we're told 300 years in the future, so presumably 2030, 2300, would that be? 2300?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like crazy. That like, okay, now my mind is freaking out because it's not like they just wrote this on their own. Like Suzanne was a part of it. So she's
No,
thinking
yeah,
like,
this was the one that was, I mean, on this script, it's Suzanne, Gary Ross, and Billy Ray.
mhm. But I mean, like, that's still, I'm thinking more like the timeline would be 2200 because, like, when all of this begins, like, the dark days begin, because this is the 73rd arena, and like 300 minus 73 and the
I mean, I
200.
bet they probably weren't thinking about the math.
I'm thinking about the math. Suzanne, you put that in there, I'm going to think about the math. Like, that's so cool, but okay, and then my mind goes to again, we know that the capital is in Colorado because of the Rocky Mountains. Like,
Yeah, so then it's like, why is it a city in Colorado?
yeah, Aspen would be in, I would assume, where the capital would be because you're thinking about like the Rocky Mountains, and like that's why the capital is safe where it is. It's because it's protected by the Rocky Mountains. That's said a ton of times. And Aspen is a really rich town, like resort town, like it says. So I'm kind of surprised, and it's beautiful too. I'm surprised that they would have just let it go to waste like that. I don't know. That's like another thing I'm thinking about.
Hmm.
But
Maybe it was like maybe the capital was larger and then during the dark days had to, move inward.
yeah,
And so Aspen was more recently an abandoned town.
yeah,
And so that's why it's still there. And so they're just using it.
that's interesting.
Maybe they used it for the games, and then after the games, they're like, okay, now we'll fix it and rebuild.
And it's like a cute little
And so then it'd be a
getaway for the
cool
weekend.
tourist destination.
Yeah, you just take like a train up there.
I like that idea.
Because I mean, like in Colorado, a big tourist thing is taking trains, like day trip trains, to like the mountains. So that's definitely like something that the capital would do too, which I
Like
find interesting.
visit the city where the Hunger Games happened.
Yeah, Aspen. That would be cool merch. Somebody please make like an Aspen tourist shirt but have it be like for the
For the
73rd
Hunger
Hunger
Games.
Games. Like
Gosh.
a tourist shirt, but for the 73rd Games. I want that.
Man, I wish we could make our own merch.
I know, I wish we could draw because
Yeah, we can't at all.
could somebody please? Hello. Okay. Now here's one of the next two arenas are the ones that we know probably the most about. Well, definitely the most about because we experience it with
In the
Katniss.
movies, yeah.
The 74th Games, we know that arena was destined for Katniss. Like I'm kind of like I was upset when I first read this as Katniss's arena because she comes from like the woods, and Suzanne was like, "Let's make it her perfect arena." Like we get the forest and the woods that are so similar to where Katniss grew up.
But if she didn't have that arena, like, she probably wouldn't have won.
Yeah. So it was
It's the only
lucky.
way.
Yeah.
My guess is that because the 74th arena is so normal, I guess, I would think that they do that one quite often.
Mhm.
Like an arena like that where it's just woods. And then
Probably like
once in a while, they have the more experimental
Mhm.
type of landscapes.
Yeah. Cuz it was just like so perfect. I mean, like there's the stream, the trees, the wide opening, the area with all the grain, and what was it? Like where Thresh hides out.
Hmm.
There's everything.
Yeah, I guess that's why I like to think that this is more of a common arena. So then
Mhm.
it's not like, oh, this is the one time where the arena was like this and
Yeah.
it perfectly matched with Katniss.
Yeah. But also like the mutations, I mean mockingjays, they just make noises, which is another thing I have an issue with because after reading Ballad, we know how much Snow hates mockingjays.
It
So
makes zero sense for them to be in the arena.
why would he like go out of his way to put them in an arena if he's trying to like hide them because
You know what?
they
This
are a
has
form of
actually been, I kind of forgot about that. That's,
yeah.
I feel like, been a hotly debated thing. It's like,
Hmm.
how did the Mockingjays get into the arena? I mean,
There's a force field.
they could have just accidentally gotten in while they were building the arena. I mean, they had to build the roof at some point.
Yeah.
Those Mockingjays are crafty.
Awful. Awful. Or maybe that's why Seneca was killed because he slipped some mockingjays into the arena, and that's what made Snow really upset. He's like, "Who
He was
put those
already
in there?"
really angry at him.
Yeah, and that pushed him
Why
over
did
the
that make me
edge.
think of who ordered this pig?
I love that. Oh my gosh.
Seneca doesn't know what's going on.
And then there's the Tracker Jackers, which are crazy, and Glimmer's death is, in my opinion, I mean, besides Cato's death where he gets eaten alive, Glimmer's death is probably one of the most disturbing deaths just because of how
Yeah,
her
it seems
body
brutal.
looks. Yeah. And
Just
she's
like
like,
swelling up and
ugh, how she has to like pull her
probably
fingers off.
not being able to like breathe
Hmm.
eventually because of the swelling.
Hmm.
Not a pretty way to go.
And the stings, like, I mean, I've been stung. I know what it feels like. It's not pleasant, and to have that all over your body. But one thing that I wish the movies focused on more, but I don't know how they would have done this without it looking like really cringe CGI, like almost like Twilight, was the wolf mutation. So like how in the books we know that they're made after the tributes to look like them. Like they have their eyes, they have the collar with the district number, they have the color fur that would match their hair, like, and their sizes are like comparable to the tributes themselves. But I get why they didn't do it in the movie, but the wolves in the movie like look like weird puppies. Like, you know what I mean? They
Yeah,
kind of
they
look like
look
pit
like
bulls.
Fibbles.
Yeah.
Or like pugs, like kind of a mixture.
Yeah, like some oddly shaped dog. And I don't know, like, yeah, I would be scared if they were chasing me, but in the books, they're just like so much more intimidating and horrifying
Hmm.
than in the movie.
But
It's
then
just like dogs chasing
it's
you.
similar to like the monkeys, right? And Catching Fire. There's just a lot of them and they're just a little bit more ferocious
Hmm.
than they would be in real life.
Yeah, but it was
They did
creative.
the concept art and everything for
Yeah.
like their intention was to do what's in the books and make them like the tributes.
Mhm.
I can't remember exactly what the reasoning was for changing, whether it was just budget or I think they couldn't figure out how to make it come across on film
Yeah.
well enough, like for people to get it.
Which
But I
makes
feel
sense.
like people who read the books would get it, and then if you didn't get it, like it would be fine. It
Yeah.
would still be these crazy looking dogs.
I think the problem was like this is my own belief. They're both from Lionsgate, right? So Hunger Games and Twilight. And when I picture these big wolves, like Katniss describes, I'm picturing like Jacob in the wolf pack. And so, like, I feel like because the movies came out, like Breaking Dawn movies and Hunger Games came out like in the same year, like that would be problematic. People would be like, what is Jacob doing? Because I mean, the brand is the brand. So I feel like maybe that's why they had to go with like a little bit more of a pit bull sort of look, aesthetic.
That's hilarious.
But that's just me. But I mean, yeah, she also got lucky because like there weren't a lot of mutations. So like
No,
the animals were just like natural wildlife. So I kind of like your theory that this is like a pretty common arena. Maybe they have like a few kind of like this.
because she knows about like the Tracker Jackers,
Hmm.
right?
That's
So she's
true.
seen them in probably this same arena
Wait,
before.
but she also mentioned seeing them in the woods
Oh,
with Gail.
so are they not mutations?
They are.
They've just escaped?
Yeah. I think because like in the dark
I'm
days they were used
confused.
against the people, like the capital made them. And so then they were like in the woods.
I'm looking up Tracker Jackers.
Chaka chakas are genetically engineered wasps, conceived and created in the capital. Oh, tracker jackers were used as landmines during the war and planted around the districts of Panem. After the Dark Days, the capital destroyed some hives around themselves, but still kept the hives around the districts as a way to show their power over their inhabitants.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I still think they've probably been used in the games before.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Katniss, the 74th arena was built for you, honey. Like built for you. So if you
Literally,
wouldn't have
your
survived,
woods
yeah, if you would have
put into an
survived,
arena.
I'd be embarrassed for you. But yeah, do you have anything else for that arena?
I don't think so. I mean, it's one of the ones we know the most about, but it's pretty basic.
Hmm. And
Shall
then,
we move on to the 75th?
is this one your favorite arena? Like if you had to
Um,
pick one.
like to watch or to be in?
I guess just like to watch in terms of like what you're hearing about, because I love the 50th arena. I think it's the most interesting. But you were also talking about liking this one too.
Yeah, it's because I love catching fire so
Yeah.
much. um, no, to be honest, I feel like, well, I think both quarter quells are really interesting because they both have something that the characters have to try and figure out.
Hmm.
But I almost might lean towards the 50th as being the most interesting one I would think to watch because in the Catching Fire arena, once everybody figures it out, then it's kind of boring
Yeah.
because
You
everybody
just
just
stay
stays at
out.
the beach,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah. It would have been interesting if they had locked the beach up at one point. So you'd have to
yeah,
keep
and force
moving.
people to
Yeah.
stay in the different sections. And
Because,
then they do
okay.
that like in the movie, they do the thing where they spin the middle of the. I'm like, what
Uh-huh.
was the point of that? Like, that
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Let's see
Like,
how they
we
tell
know
time
that
now.
12 is where the lightning tree is. So, like,
Uh-huh.
how does that even?
Yeah.
It's such a dumb scene. I'm sorry.
I know. And I think it's so stupid how Katniss falls in the water, but she's fine. Like, she would have like slammed into
Yeah.
the
And then,
rocks.
like, Plutarch is like, okay, stop. That's enough. And I'm like, she's fine. Like,
Yeah.
nothing's happening.
I
And
don't
then they're
like
like
that.
yelling at each other, like it's so dramatic. Like Johanna is like, ah no, she lets go of Katniss, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
this was nothing. Like just
But
go
like
in the water.
if you fell in there, I feel like you would have been knocked unconscious because you know how there's like the different markers for each area. Like Katniss was being thrown so fast into it and it was such a short distance. I
Mhm.
feel like she would have like slammed against the wall. She would have had some sort of injury. So that's like the part that I have a really hard time with. You know what I mean? Like she just gets out of the water, hacks a little bit,
Yeah.
and she's like, I'm good.
It's like,
Like,
well, what was all that drama for?
yeah,
Nothing.
seriously. Um,
So there's different sections in this arena based on the time of day,
mhm.
and we don't know what all the sections are,
Which I would love to
sadly.
know. That's the least Suzanne could give us.
Some of them, it doesn't seem. I mean, there's some like the blood rain. I'm like, that's honestly not that big a deal. I mean, I guess if you're grossed out by the blood, but it's probably fake. Like it's fake blood.
I think it would just be like overwhelming because, like, the way Johanna describes it is how they're like choking and tripping on
Dude,
each
just
other.
like
'Cause you can't,
cover up your face and you'll be
yeah,
fine. Get a leaf.
true. But I mean, like, if you didn't know like what it was coming until like, because it's so hard to like take
Yeah, I
account.
guess you could get like covered and like overwhelmed by it and then
Hmm.
not be able to see.
Yeah, and she's like talking about like gagging on it and like all this stuff, which I feel like that would make me freak out just mentally because like I am such a claustrophobic person that like the fact that it's so dark and so intense and coming down like pouring on you, I feel like I would just start panicking. I think it would just make me like freak out a lot more mentally.
Yeah, and I mean, if that was happening to you, you wouldn't know how long it was going to last,
Hmm.
which it's only an hour,
But
but
that would feel so long.
yeah.
Um, I think my one of my favorite parts to read too is the Jabberjays because that's such an interesting tool that it makes me wonder if like they ever used like when you're talking about the mirage idea in the desert arena, if they've ever used something that looks like a loved one as opposed to sounding like it because Katniss gets so taken aback hearing Prim and Gale, but like what if it was somebody like an image that you saw that looked like somebody that you loved? I think that would be a really cool thing to include in the games.
Yeah. I The ones that are more mental, I'm just like, who cares?
Really?
Like if it's not going to kill me, then like I'm fine. Like I'm still in the game. Like
It would throw you off though. You know, like leaving the blood rain like after an hour of that, or the Jabberjays, like in the state that Katniss was in, specifically having the fear of losing her sister, that's what gets her. You know what I mean? Like I think it was probably something that was more tactical against her because she was dealing with losing her sister, like potentially losing her sister at that point if she didn't keep up the act. So it
I'm
made it
like,
more real.
I could listen to my sister scream for an hour.
Oh
It'd be
my
fine.
gosh. Well, okay, your sister's not at risk by from being killed by snow though. You know what I mean? I think the Jabberjays and the acid fog and the blood rain are like the coolest parts of the arena. Everything else I'm
Acid fog is the scariest one.
it's
I think that's
horrifying.
the scariest, the smartest
Hmm.
section. That
Yeah.
one is frightening.
Oh, yeah.
And especially like what happens to our favorite characters
Hmm.
in that section. It's awful.
Yeah. And the pain of it. In the movie, their screams, they do a good job.
Yeah, can you imagine having to act and like pretend that you're touching like the way she like puts her hand out and it's like shaking?
Uh-huh.
So good.
Yeah. Oh
What are
wait.
some of the other ones?
Unknown species of insects that emit loud clicking noises.
All right.
A tidal wave, the
Oh,
monkeys.
the wave. I
There's
mean,
an
that one
animal.
you'd probably just be drowned so
Yeah.
easily.
The lightning tree.
I wonder what some of the other ones were.
I know. But I guess that brings us to our own game makers section.
Yeah.
So I've already kind of talked about like my ideal arena if I run the games. The first one would be like the abandoned town because I could hide a lot easier, but it kind of be spooky and like eerie at night. You know what I mean? But another one I think would just be something like Katniss's arena, where the temperatures are a little bit more mild and there's a lot of like trees to hide.
Yeah, I like your abandoned city comment that like it would be so much easier to hide, and that would probably be my gameplay. So I think that one would be ideal for me. I
Hmm.
kind of think a desert would be good for me too, but a desert that is more like the desert I'm from, not like a
Yeah.
sand dune type of desert. So like with cactus and like Southwest Arizona
Hmm.
type of desert, because I kind of know some places I guess you could get water, different like animals and stuff that you could,
Hmm.
it's, knowing it's important to conserve your energy. And I feel like there would be some type of like scrubs and bushes, like places to hide
Hmm.
a little bit. I don't know, that's just like familiar environment to me. So I think that one would be good. And something that has a lot of water
Yeah.
would be good for me because I feel like I'm a pretty strong swimmer. Like I can hold my breath a decent amount of time. And I just think it'd be fun.
I would just be scared of like the mutations that they would throw in on us.
Yeah. Like if I was a game maker and I was doing something very water based, like we brought up before, sharks would definitely be
Yeah.
part of it. And that's one of my biggest fears is
Hmm.
sharks.
I'm like traumatized by anything in the water. I don't know what it is. I think it's just like how big water, like bodies of water can be and like what can be moving like faster than I can be moving.
If I knew if there were no more sharks in the world, I would not be scared of the ocean at all.
I would.
I'd be like swimming in the ocean for
Ugh.
sure with no fear.
Ugh.
I'm like whales, that's awesome. If
Hmm.
I run into those, some dolphins, that's great. Even like whatever, like I'm not scared of jellyfish or even though I probably should be
Hmm.
because they can kill you, but just the thought of sharks
Yeah,
is extremely scary to me.
that makes sense. Um, I guess that leads us into like our questions or our whole topic that we came up of including like how we would make the arena interesting. So we're going to be head game makers. We just graduated from the academy. We've worked as game makers in other games. But this year we were assigned to be in charge of whatever games it is. So, Emily, I want to hear all about your arena.
I'm Dr. Gall.
Okay, Dr. Gall, let's
Right
talk.
after ballad. I actually came up with a few ideas.
Okay, I just came up with
And this
one.
this first one I don't have super fleshed out, but what if there was an arena, like I don't know the exact landscape, but an arena where it was nighttime the whole time. And
Oh,
then all the tributes had like night vision goggles, or like maybe they didn't and then, like they had to get them or something
that's
like that. I
sweet.
just feel like that would be a cool concept if it was dark the entire time.
Yes, that's awesome.
Literally have nothing else besides that
Oh,
on
that
that
was
one.
your. Okay, what are your other ones? I think the nighttime thing would be super interesting.
Okay, I was thinking like, what if it was like in the jungle, but like the tops of the trees, like you couldn't go any lower, and it was like a high ropes, almost kind of like I'm thinking
I
like
would die. I
Tarzan.
would die. I can't climb anything. I would die.
Maybe there's like a force field or something, like so that you can't
Oh my
go
god.
any lower or something like that. Like just having to like get
Oh
around
my.
on different trees, like
That sounds
that
like an
sounds
obstacle
great.
course.
See, that just sounds fun to me. I'm like, I love ropes courses. So,
I would not do well there. I would die
are you afraid of
immediately.
heights?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, but Holly, like if we go to North Carolina, so you wouldn't do like zip lining?
Oh, I love zip lining. I like
Okay,
zip lining, but
because
courses. I don't know how to say that. Ropes.
Okay.
Courses.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference. Like if you're just on the zip line and
Yeah.
having fun versus like having to do some sort of like obstacle
Yeah.
challenge, there's more fear
Yeah.
involved. But I know that the cast of the Hunger Games, when they were in North Carolina, like on their free time, they went on like ziplining courses, and I'm like, we
Mhm.
could go to the same one that the tributes went to.
I'm down. I'm so down. I'm so down.
Okay, this one might be kind of funny, but
Okay.
I was thinking like a giant body of water, and then everybody is just in like little boats,
Oh.
and then so they'd have to like row to other boats
I
to
feel like
like
that'd be like kind of awkward.
I know.
Like just like rowing away. Oh my
That's
god.
what I'm picturing, but I think it would be funny.
I feel like off of that, like an abandoned ship would be kind of cool. Like one that's like the water is like kind of shallow, but it's like a
It's like
really big cruise ship.
half above, half below kind of
Yeah.
situation.
That'd be
That
kinda
sounds
cool.
so cool. I love that idea.
Pirate
This is what I
vibe.
want to see. And then my other one, I guess, I don't know if this would be possible, but I mean, I would just love like an ocean one
Yeah.
where basically like the Catching Fire arena, but it's all water. Like there might be the cornucopia in the middle, and they're all like on their pedestals, but the whole thing is just water.
Mhm. It's
Sponsors could be
Atlantis.
like sending them like flotation devices or like
Floaty, like the little arm one, like
little
the floaty
floaties,
arms. Yay! Some
little
noodles.
clamshell like floaty thing to like just
Yes.
like lay on.
They're just like tanning. So great. It's a holiday.
I mean, but then there would be like sharks and all sorts
Oh,
of dangerous things in the water.
yeah.
Everybody would get like a snorkel.
Oh my gosh, one snorkel for all. People
I
would get
wonder
very tired easily in that one because if you're
I wonder if
constantly
they
treading
could
water.
do like a scuba dive type of arena where you'd have to go back up and like get an air tank or something. And I don't know how you would like kill each other underwater,
Yeah,
but I think it'd be cool.
make it happen.
I'd get fired
Emily the
after
game
that.
maker. You get murdered. So it'd be like not enough viewers this time. The capital
Okay,
hit.
I feel like I had a lot of just like little ideas. I didn't like come up with one and like plan it all out. So
Okay.
like I want to hear your master plan.
Okay, I had like two, which one of them I already kind of talked about. So one of the ideas I would go to them and say would be like a desert with quicksand. I think quicksand would be awesome. Um, I think just because like that sort of terrain has the scariest creatures. I would
Like
do like
snakes,
snake mutts, yeah,
scorpions.
scorpions, but I was thinking like big scorpions, like not just little ones, but almost like maybe like the size of like a small child, like really big scorpions. I think that would be like traumatizing.
Really big snakes.
Oh, so gross. Um, and I okay, I already kind of mentioned like I know this is wild, but after reading Ballad and we hear about the human experimentation by Dr. Gall, I'm talking like zombie mutts, like in like half like decayed bodies because like the sun is so
Ugh.
hot, you know what I mean? I'm kind of getting like that vibe for this arena. Like that would
Do
be
you
kind of
think
like a final
the
thing.
capital would be interested in that though? Because I feel like there are some things that make them uncomfortable. I don't
I
know. I
think
guess
as
I'm just
long as
thinking about
it wasn't
cannibalism, but
somebody that they recognized, they would be fine because it'd almost be like a video game where you can like separate reality from fiction. You know what I mean?
okay, yeah, because they could be like, well, those aren't real people,
Yeah.
or
But
maybe
they
they are,
really
but they
are.
don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and I think, I mean, I'm stealing your Mirage idea because I think that would be a really smart idea to have in like a desert arena. And that would kind of make things a little more interesting in terms of like fixing or like influencing people's mental states in the arena. And again, with like, I like the idea of like one shaded area in the whole arena. So not just like one tree, but like a pretty big, maybe like the size of like 10 by 10. I don't know. But there's a bunch of like trees and like a shade area and water. And like that's kind of like the only place that you can access like shade and water. So then people would be forced to confront each other. So that would be kind of cool. Maybe like in the cornucopia. Um,
Mm.
so that's my desert arena.
We're way too good at this.
I know, I'm kind of scared of us now. I was also thinking something ocean. I put shark mutts before we brought it up, I promise. I was kind of thinking something like fish mutts. Like there is that picture of that terrifying fish that everyone hates, like the one from Nemo with like the light
The
bulb.
anglerfish.
Yeah. Something like that. I think just having those or like piranhas would be very scary. Um, and then, okay, here's me. I was kind of thinking like a fantastical arena. So I'm really scared of like anything in the water, but something like a huge like Loch Ness monster or something like that, where it's like a huge fish creature that like no one's ever seen before. I think that would just like add to the stakes and be like my huge finale. So come play my games. Who wants to volunteer for the raping? But yeah, those are my two ideas.
I think jellyfish should also be in there. Like if I'm
Mhm.
thinking about in Finding Nemo again, where there's that wall of jellyfish, and like it gets in
Yeah.
between like you and another tribute or something, and
Ooh.
like it's like, are you gonna go through it? Are you not? Like,
Yeah. Almost like a Katniss Peta scenario where like your ally is over there. Are you gonna attempt to
and
get
you're
to
just like
them?
surrounded. What
Yeah.
are you gonna do?
Ooh. I like this. Let's make an ocean arena.
I really like the sunken ship one. I think that of all the things that we've said, that sounds really cool because there's the above ground, the below. It's kind of like an abandoned city almost. Like there'd be places to hide, but
Hmm.
some would be underwater.
I
So
think
the
I was
people who were
thinking
like
of
better.
that because right before this, I was reading an article about the Titanic and two people who had their wedding on like the shipwreck of the Titanic underwater. Like they literally got married.
What?
Yeah, underwater. They had $36,000 to spend. I was reading this article that popped up that I found so like fascinating. So for me, also watching the movie Titanic, like just the experience again, claustrophobia,
Yeah, of them
like
like with the
feeling
water in the
trapped.
hallways, and
Yeah,
yeah, that would be a fantastic arena.
but yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Wow, I'm a little scared of us,
I know,
to be
same. I'm
honest.
worried. Okay, our game maker faces are off. We're back to Holly and Emily. We're not sociopaths, I promise. Only sociopaths would say that. Um, but that was our arena talk. I'm glad we finally got to talk about like the settings in the Hunger Games, like as a start, because the
Yeah, I
arenas are
feel like
awesome.
it's really nice to just pick out a detail like that and talk
Mhm.
about it a lot and across all the different books. So
Yeah.
that was fun.
Yes.
And next week, we are going to be talking all about, speaking of small details, I like did not plan that. Speaking of small details that we're going to really dive into, we're going to be talking all about Peeta's leg
Oh,
next episode.
amen. Amen. Yes.
Woo!
Yes.
We had
Standing
enough. We
ovation.
had an episode where we talked all about Gale, and we're done with that. We need some PETA in our lives. So
Yes.
next episode, it's all going to be about PETA. We'll be talking about his leg and like, how it comes into play in the books, how it didn't come into play at all in the movies, and if that was something that should have been lost or should have stayed in the films. So
Yay.
I guess a reminder again, we are doing our ballad read along. We're going to be doing chapters 11 and 12, right? Tomorrow.
Yes.
And that's going to be live on our Instagram at Into the Arena Podcast. And make sure you're following us on our other social medias at Into the Arena Podcast on TikTok, YouTube, and we also have a Facebook page. So feel free to like
Yay.
and join that group if you would like. And thanks for listening, everybody, this week. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. Bye.